Day 1. Dinner by candlelight. More than 1 million customers already were without power by early evening, and millions more could lose electricity. One disaster forecasting company predicted economic losses could ultimately reach $20 billion, only half of it insured. Reuters report, 7:54 p.m., Monday, October 29, 2012. I was making dinner when our light, heat, and communications were cut off around 6:30 p.m. Minute steaks. I was cooking minute steaks. Seemed like a good idea at the time. A simple meal from a full freezer, some cheese, bread, and ketchup. Quick and easy comfort food. It appeared we would have a long night ahead of us as the winds graduated from howls to roars. We turned up the TV to drown out the noise outside. It was bad enough that you could feel it, even behind 4 sturdy walls. Window frames clicking, foundation rumbling, debris rapping and smashing against the vinyl siding, like the second half of an extended John Bonham drum solo, when he would just stagger around and look for something else to bang on. Yeah, I saw Led Zeppelin in concert. They were pretty damn loud. So was Sandy. We raised the volume on News 12 and focused on dinner. The minute steaks turned out to be a bad idea. Now, I know they are processed, but when you take them out of the package, they look so clean and uniformly red, like razor-thin slices of the cleanest beef you could possibly imagine, not a trace of fat in sight. You figure the cattle they carve them from must run marathons or something. Then you cook them, and they all but disappear under their own grease. And you stare down at your pan, fooled once again, and wonder what number of red dye they pump into those beef shingles that melt into beef broth right before your eyes. None of which is your problem. But the physical and chemical composition of the minute steaks became the first of our Superstorm Sandy-related problems. Shrinkage notwithstanding, dinner preparations were on schedule and according to plan when the power died at, what did I say before, 6:30? Yeah. It was right about 6:30, and just as the minute steaks began to shrink, they disappeared completely, along with the rest of the kitchen. Fortunately, our kitchen island had been designated as Flashlight Central, so I managed to quickly switch on a LED lantern and regain my culinary bearings. The minute steaks were building up quite an oil reserve and would be done in, well, surely less than a minute. I turned my attention to the ultimate destination of the minute steaks, the 4 slices of my wife's yummy homemade bread, all standing patiently in the toaster, waiting to accept our desired crispness. I should confess, the wife's homemade bread is indeed tasty, but somewhat dense, especially when it was cold. The prospect of eating the minute steaks on untoasted white bread was a tangible disappointment. It was the first of many disappointments headed our way. I thought about grilling the bread, but the minute steaks were not going to wait, so I sighed, put the cold bread on 2 plates, and tried my best to make the sandwiches without spilling the waiting pool of grease in the pan. Limited to a narrow beam of light and needing 2 hands for my job, dripping and spillings landed on the counter, floor, and the stove, causing a split-second flare of fire. Less than 1 minute steak into the greatest power outage in New Jersey history. We were already experiencing potentially dangerous domestic complications. We ate silently, leaving cold bread crusts on our plates. We had misplaced our appetites somewhere in the darkness. Lisa lit some candles, backlighting Flashlight Central, which looked like a scale model of New York skyscrapers with the sun rising behind them. Normally a candlelight dinner and a view of the Manhattan skyline might strike a romantic mood, but with the superstorm at our door and grease on our floor, our baser instincts were preoccupied with the kind of uncertainty that darkness demands. We used a match to relight the stove burner and boiled some water to wash the dishes. We left the grease on the floor for daylight. We'd give the kitchen and the house a good cleaning as soon as the lights came back on in a few hours. A few days? Who knew? But our previous power losses had all been measured in hours, not days. Or weeks. We had no reason to think this blackout would be any different.